G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you're having a fantastic day. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chug a prawn of the Barbie, and let's get right into it. Posted by user Throwaway Advice 236, titled, Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that being depressed is not an excuse for being lazy? I, 29, have always supported my girlfriend, 23. We've been together for 4 years now and lived together for 1. She's always had anxiety, as well as depression, where some months are worse than others. I have supported her through all of this and understand that it is very hard for her. In January, she lost her job due to the current world circumstances, and by March, she hit a low point with not eating as much, crying, irritability, typical traits of depression. I've comforted her as much as possible and taken care of everything. However, at the beginning of June, I was allowed back to work, and since, the house has fallen to shambles. I am too tired by the time I come home to do anything, even cook. Most nights we order takeout, and on the rare occasion, she makes food. The floors aren't being washed, hoovering isn't being done, laundry is a mountain, and dishes are everywhere. I try to keep on top of it, but with work, it is almost impossible. She is home all day. She lies in bed till late afternoon, watches Netflix, eats bowls of cereal, and naps. And that's about it. I've tried to gently coax her to do more, and she says she will get to it, but never does. I finally snapped, told her I was sick of her doing nothing all day and leaving the housework to me, that if she is here and I am working, she needs to be pulling her weight. She got upset and said that she wants to, but she can never find the motivation, that she is tired all the time. I said I understood that she was depressed, but it isn't an excuse to do nothing and be lazy. No one likes housework, but I won't take any more excuses about it. She needs to start doing it or leave. The next day, I come home to a clean house and a note from her saying she was sorry and is going to stay with her mother. Her mum helped her clean before they left. I tried calling, but she wouldn't pick up. When I rang the house, her mother answered and had a lot to say. She was furious, telling me about how she is struggling and I am making her worse, that I should be supporting her, not ignoring that she is in a bad place, and so on. I was told my girlfriend had been crying all day in her bedroom, and I feel awful. I never wanted to hurt her, I just snapped. I tried to get her mother to give my girlfriend the phone, but she wouldn't speak to me. It feels like a lose-lose situation. On one hand, I know depression results in lack of motivation and cleanliness, and on the other hand, I can't stand to see our home in such chaos. I've never had depression, so I can't say for sure how bad it truly is. That's why I find it more difficult to 100% empathize. Am I the asshole for telling her that depression isn't an excuse? For some extra info, she has a therapist and talks regularly with them. Her depression is worse since losing her job. Usually she's quite clean and tidy. We don't usually have this issue. She is looking for a job despite depression, etc. I have enough money to support us both in the meantime. Honestly, depending on how you look at this situation, I think this can swing wildly from everyone sucks here to no one is an asshole in this situation. I think personally that no one's an asshole in this situation. I think you both want different things. I think you are both dealing with different situations and you're not compatible as it stands. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's no one's fault in particular. I think that it's probably best that you guys just move on before one of you does become an asshole in this situation. In the comments, Giggly Monster says, "No assholes here. I feel for both you and her. It's not easy dealing with someone who has depression, just as it's not easy for the person to be dealing with the depression. It's not fair on you to bear that emotionally, and it's not fair for her to have someone pushing her. I think you both need to reevaluate and probably take a break, or just break up. She doesn't seem okay to be in a relationship right now with what she's dealing with." To be honest, I'm surprised OP didn't pitch doing housework as a means to combat depression. Just doing a couple tasks a day can stave off feeling down. For example, clean the kitchen on Monday, get groceries on Tuesday, etc. That would have been an approach to a solution that would have met both sides' needs. So I can only speak from my own personal experience with having depression disorder since elementary school. I fully recognize not everyone is the same with this disorder. Your idea is entirely valid, and on the surface makes sense, but I get an all or nothing mentality. Either I clean everything now, or nothing gets done. I know that it makes no sense. There is no reason why I can't pick up my laundry today, do dishes tomorrow, etc. But in my brain, if I pick up my clothes from my bedroom floor, well, now I need to straighten up my shelves, and now I need to dust, and now I need to clean the closet and reorganize the drawers, and re-alphabetize my bookshelf, and wash the windows, etc., etc. But I don't have the energy to do all of that. My body physically hurts, I'm so tired and so sad, so I can't do any of it. Depression is a gluttonous beast. When it drains the primary victim to a barely functioning husk of a person, it gets hungry and starts to feed off the energy of those close to the victim. To keep this supply going, it manipulates the victim into, as you said, lose-lose-lose situations, so it can stuff itself on the sadness and distress. I have it, I hate it, I live with it. But it's the hungriest hungry hippo for psychic distress, and it manipulated the perfect situation to not only dig its primary victim deeper, but to chip away at the support system until the main supporter lashes out in build-up frustration. This isn't a you versus her cleaning issue as much as it is the issue of everyone here, including her therapist from your comments, underestimated the depression. It is far more diabolical than people want to admit because it's honestly terrifying. Since the depression is so strong right now, personifying it can be helpful. It's the third player on the 4D emotional chessboard here, manipulating pieces and moves so that it can continue to feast merrily. Practical advice? Follow the other commenter's advice to eat your crow while it's fresh and apologize for snapping. It is unfair for you to carry the whole load indefinitely, but empathy and strategy will serve you better here than being right. Go into this with no expectations beyond being able to give a heartfelt apology and say your piece. If things work out, great, and I wish you both the best together. If not, then that's truly unfortunate and I wish you both the best on your paths. Update. Ultimately, I realized that the majority of the blame was mine. I never ever should have called her lazy because that isn't what she is. I lashed out and I shouldn't have. She stayed at her mother's house for a few days, and we eventually met up to talk. I told her how it just got too much for me, but it was no excuse for lashing out, and I apologized. She apologized also, not that she needed to, and we talked for a long while about how we can make our relationship work. I expressed my concerns over her therapist, who was very against anything other than talking therapy. She agreed that he didn't seem to really have her best interests at heart, and she's currently looking for someone new. For now, I suggested she stop looking for work. She got a lot of rejections, and I could see that it was upsetting her more. I just felt that we should take a step back from that, and I want her to focus a little more on herself. She was unsure as she felt bad that I would be working for the both of us, but I assured her it is fine. I make enough to support both of us quite comfortably. I also suggested maybe she could volunteer at some point, just to get her out and get some more stuff on her resume. I'm no therapist, so these were just suggestions, but it has seemed to have taken more of the pressure off of her, which is all I wanted. We agreed that being in the apartment all day alone and in bed is not good for her, so we came up with a plan that she do an exercise video 3 times a week. It's only a 10-minute one, just so that she's doing something. She has found that she likes doing them, they make her feel a bit better after, and has started something called yin yoga now too. To help me, she has 1 chore a day to do. I don't care what it is. It could be dishes, or it could just be putting the laundry in the hamper. This rule has at least gotten her out of bed for part of the day, and she's found that once she starts, sometimes ends up doing more than one thing. I make sure to show my appreciation for whatever she has done, no matter how small it was. We have set out that every Sunday we will have a deep cleaning day where we get everything done for the week. This has been surprisingly successful. We make it fun and just mess around while still getting things done. It makes the week a lot more manageable when we have only light chores to keep on top of. She's trying more, and I'm also working on being more supportive about her depression. I'm researching it more, and learning ways that I can help her because it is part of her. We are both putting more effort in and communicating a lot better. I hope we keep making progress because I do love her very much and want us to work. In the comments, 221 Beehive says, "Great to hear. Depression-induced inability to get out of bed is a vicious circle. And having you there to help her both be accountable, but also as her support, is super important. It's good to see that you've been able to change your behavior, which in turn will help her as well. I'm glad that you've found this balance. I do think you are being hard on yourself as well. Are you familiar with the concept of caregiver fatigue? It sounds like you unknowingly assigned yourself as her caregiver, which is incredibly taxing, especially when it just sort of happened, as opposed to knowingly taking on the job. Living with someone with mental health issues has its own set of challenges. You should seriously looking into getting your own therapist to help you handle that responsibility and manage your own well-being. OP replies, "Thank you for the advice. My girl did suggest to me that I also find someone to talk to, and I think I may." That's good to hear. And remember, you are still allowed to have needs in a relationship. Standing by her while she's actively working on getting healthy is one thing, but if the relationship is only ever one-sided, it will not last. You're allowed to have bad days too, and she needs to be able to support you in return when that happens. People need to realize that therapists can and should be changed if they aren't working. Obviously, you can't expect miracles and demand to see change by session 2, but after so many months and a therapist that's insistent the girlfriend do nothing, that's not working. Girlfriend is lucky that OP decided to stick by her. Yes, it is the depression's fault, but that doesn't mean that OP is obligated to shoulder everything on his own. OP would have been right to quit to protect his own well-being. I hope girlfriend realizes how good she has it and appreciates him more. Also, finding a decent therapist is way more difficult than Reddit would like you to think. Sometimes it's damn near impossible. I've been where the girlfriend is, and it's so hard, especially when you add the feeling of you're failing your partner when they're obviously trying so hard to help you. Good on both of them for stepping up to find solutions instead of just band-aids. Depression is hard for the person depressed to handle. It is also hard for someone who has never experienced it to know how deeply it can impact someone. Mental illness affects not just the person with it, but also those around them. It's hard to see the other person's perspective when you're in the midst of it. Communication is key, always. Ditto, I am shocked at how effing exhausting depression was, and how hard it was to climb out of it. It was like having mono, the same level of total body exhaustion. Our next post is by user Baby Blue Unicorn, titled, "Going to break some legs this weekend, and if I go to jail, it will still be hella worth it. Maybe a little sloppy here because I'm still a bit dizzy. So I live in a split house. We have thin walls. About 6 months ago, a new neighbor moved in. I heard loud noises a few times, then the first time it progressed to screams, I went over to check on her. Her ex-boyfriend was there, she was crying and asking me to make him leave. I told him to go, he did, no incident. It happened again and again. Then I heard her say, 'Stop hitting me,' so I took my glasses off, put on my flip-flops. Friday night lights really made me want to knock someone out wearing a pair of flip-flops, don't judge me, and I went next door. I skipped knocking, came in, and she was curled on the floor crying. I asked where he was, and she pointed at the back, and I saw him through the window sprinting towards his bike. He used his little legs to pump that sucker as fast as he could. Each time, I called the police. Each time they confirmed he had a warrant out already, each time they did absolutely nothing. It happened again last week. He kicked in her door and assaulted her. I was asleep and didn't wake up until towards the end, at which point I grabbed my pants and a t-shirt, skipped putting on shoes, and sprinted next door. He was running again. I told him if he came back, I would find him. I asked neighbors for his address, and then I gave it to the cops, and nothing happened. Today, I went grocery shopping, and was walking home from the store when I feel a crack on the side of my face. I was sucker punched by the neighbor's crazy ex. He has fist fillers. And friends. They found me. I grew up boxing, so I'd like to say that I did well, but I maybe landed 3 punches during the several-man beatdown, and they apparently did little to deter the further ass beating. I just got back from the hospital maybe an hour ago. My face looks mega effed up, but I still have my teeth and no permanent damage. CT scan was clear even. The police are still not doing anything, so I'm gonna hit him up on his porch with a friend, and we're going to break his legs. I'm actually not concerned at all about being pinched by police for it, because at this point, their incompetence is endangering my life and the life of my neighbor. A few months in jail is better than being put in a coma. Edit. Girlfriend has talked me down from my adrenaline-fueled rampage. The new plan is to accelerate my plans to move in with her out west and carry a knife when I need to make trips to the store in the meantime for self-defense purposes. Neighbor is currently staying with her dad and looking for a place that nobody knows about with the help of Government Assistance for Abused Women program. Edit 2. Just wanted to thank all the people giving me support or calling me a hero. I'm usually a pretty down on myself type dude, so it really did give me a nice mood boost, especially since I can't sleep because my goddamn cheekbones and forehead are just throbbing. I'm definitely not a hero though. If you're sleeping through someone being beaten and you can do something about it, there is something wrong with you. In the comments, someone says, just don't get shot, man. Is it possible you can trick them into coming somewhere where they can't run as easily and call the police beforehand? Also, if you accidentally cause permanent or fatal damage, you'll be facing a lot more than a couple months. The more I think about this plan, the more I think it's probably a bad idea. Is there no other way that you can think of? Speaking as someone whose brother did similar, he ended up in jail for 7 years and actually got out on good behavior early. I don't know what his original sentence was, but the guy was in a coma and was messed up when he woke up. No, pricks like that always have their friends ready. Unless you truly think this situation is worth your life, I'd wait till he comes over again and whack him while his punk friends aren't around. And edit, maybe tell the girl to leave town and do the same. If you want to not go to prison, don't get caught up in bad shit if you don't have to. Second edit, by whack, I don't mean kill. Do not kill anyone. Wait until he comes over and does another dumb thing, and catch him while you can still say that it was self-defense. Have OP wait in the building with her next time. He comes in, OP is there. He's not allowed in, breaking and entering, and breaking legs is self-defense as long as you don't keep hitting them while they're down. Update. So as soon as the Americans woke up, this became an aggressive troll show of folks who aren't from Canada telling me how great Canadian police are and that this story can't happen. If you don't believe me, tough. I had a bad couple of days and I'm just straight up gonna report and mute anybody else. I made this as a vent and kept it up because the positive messages were super cool and helping me through a bad night, but honestly, the post-UK hours have just made it super shitty to interact here, and so I'm gonna ignore this going forward, except for updates for the folks interested in hearing about those. Thanks again to the UK folks and some Cali boys who were super kind earlier. Update 2, my headache is gone. The neighbor is at her dad's doing the Christmas thing and is confirmed moving by the end of the month for the sake of everyone. She may have to stay with her dad for a bit, but as long as she has someone keeping her safe, it's all good. She isn't very internet savvy, so I'm not sure she even knows what options are available to her. I know she's been looking into help from the Provincial Emergency Assistance Program, but if any Ontarians, or maybe just Canadians, have any advice on what organizations she might be able to get some extra assistance from, I would appreciate a PM. Update 3. I had a heavy candle holder thrown through my window last night. Cops took it for prints, which surprised me. I doubt that anything will come of it, but whatever. I'm moving in the next week or so. I think her dad's gonna pay some guys to hunt him for the police so they can actually act on the numerous warrants out for this dude. Update 4. Move is set for a couple weeks from now. Junkie only ended up spending a couple of days in jail. Apparently this is the standard for the justice system according to the cops, who seem to be equally annoyed by it. I guess what happens is they give him light bail, he posts, he runs, they catch him, give him light bail, he posts, and no judge ever changes the cycle. I'm going to call the court tomorrow, Southern Ontario, to see if there's maybe somebody I can talk to. Victim services were meh. Resolution update. The neighbor just texted me. He's been arrested. Going to see if she knows any more specifics in a little bit, and will share them if she has them. And that's it, that's the last update. There's no more further information than that, and that sucks. In the comments, Mol Morin says, "It was disheartening to read that he blames himself for sleeping through the incident next door. We don't get to choose when we deep sleep, mate. Hope he comes to some peaceful terms with himself. This, he already did more than the ones who were supposed to protect her, aka the cops. He's a hero in my eyes. More people need to be like him." What dumbasses are out there claiming the cops in Canada or anywhere give a shit about domestic abuse victims? I was really hoping for this one time to be violent. If any story actually deserves to have violence in it, it's this one. This guy earned it thoroughly. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.